All right, guys. I'd like to discuss a straight line, center line, or fencer's principle. This is something that you've probably seen before, but I'd like to make sure that we cover it for the purpose of DVD because I believe it's very important, and so do a lot of other people. Anyway, Adam, if you had a sword and you were sword fighting, or you had a pistol or a rifle or something like that, and you had a threat in front of you, you would try to keep that weapon, generally speaking, between you and the thing. Whether it's an animal, a person, you name it, because occupying that straight line, the fastest way between 2 points is a straight line, and by occupying that center, not only are you keeping the other thing, a consistent threat with the sword that you have pointed at it, but beyond that, you're also making sure that you don't have to move your weapon into alignment in order to protect yourself. Whereas if you are the threat to me and I go, here's my sword out here, and you come get it, and I go, and I try to get it in the way, there is in concept a possibility that you could be quick enough, or I could miss the straight line and you get to me first before I protect myself. If I maintain that same sword the same way that a fencer would, keeping his sword between his opponent and himself at all times, that sword is simultaneously a pointed threat as well as a shield. And in order for you to address me aggressively, you have to knock it out of the way before proceeding forward. If you don't knock it out of the way, you're either going to run onto it or have to move around. This principle exists the same way in the 50-50, and that straight line is actually going to be occupied by your femur and your knee in between your opponent and yourself. So if we come into 50-50, you can do any number of different things, but this becomes a huge issue, actually, a very, very important. It becomes obviously important, I guess I would say, when the other person's really big and decides to try to just assert themselves. So if Adam's coming up on top, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this knee here, and Adam is doing the I'm good at 50-50 guy move. So if we scoot this way a little bit, which is not pressuring like crazy, not doing anything like that, but do me a favor, pull my knee by and just start to crush me. Just pull my knee past you and come get it. Keep going. This doesn't seem like a big deal because Adam is my size, and it's not a big deal because Adam's my size. If Adam were massive Adam, this would be a problem. So what I want to do is keep this knee between me and him. Try to drive through it. What do you feel?
Just an obstruction, a very obvious obstruction in this in that center one.
Come directly at me.
I can't. There's a block.
Reach me with a punch. I can make myself longer by turning on my side and getting behind my shoulder. But even here, and again, this is I am benefited by the fact that I'm relatively tall for my weight. So Adam and I are about the same length. But can you reach my face, please?
No.
Can you lean forward and reach my face? Why not?
Your hips are off the ground, and
what are you bumping into?
your knee and your shin.
Reach my face now. Come get it. Lean forward. Slide by it. What's going on, guys? If we switch for a second, if you go to the bottom, please, is that this knee is an obstruction when it's between me and him. This knee is not an obstruction when it's not. And now this, again, is something that you don't really feel like is that important grappling because no amount of pressure is going to get me through the 50-50 here. However, if I am 230 pounds and I grab your head and you're a moderately sized person, you'll be bummed out about that. But I can watch this. Keep this long. Don't let me get close. I'm like, okay. If you notice, there's a decent distance between my arm reach and Adam. And I got relatively long arms. I can't scratch my own shin standing up, but I'm relatively long arm. I can put my fist past him through his head. Would this be the world's most powerful punch? No, but I'll tell you what, the world's least powerful punch is like the world's least powerful bullet. Not a lot of people are lining up to get shot with it, in spite of the fact that it's not much of a bullet. So if we come back here, and Adam's on bottom, what he wants to avoid happening is this. This is not a very effective pass. This is not a very effective thing to have happen. But if I'm big as shit and I'm starting to drive my knee into you, it's a bully move, it's garbage, it's junk, it's not fair, but it is what it is if the other person's big enough to do it. And on top of that, if I'm driving forward and I can get through this, I can absolutely hit really powerfully. It's not the most powerful punch, but it's powerful enough to rattle your teeth. So drive that knee, lift your hips and drive that knee into my gut. Now, see how he's not lifting his hips? See how he is lifting his hips? All of the things that you do in fighting to grapple well work well in grappling. Plenty of the things that you do in grappling will get you beat the crap up in fighting. And that doesn't mean don't practice it, but it's a less serious game that allows you to make a ton of errors that would otherwise be punished. So just by keeping his hips off the mat, which he should be doing anyway in this position, and I feel tension, I feel weight, I feel mass, I feel encumbered by Adam right now. And I also feel the center line is blocked. Drop your hips. It's like a sword that's made of a noodle. It's not much of a sword at all. So I want you guys to consider how you can keep the center occupied. Drive forward, please. Like, I keep that right in the center of him in, frankly, all of my positions, but certainly 50-50, and you're going to notice a difference in your ability to protect yourself and moderate the amount of space between you and your opponent.